What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, y'all. We are made it. We've made it. We're at that midpoint. Just a few more days. Hold on. Change is coming. Y'all, I'm excited about it. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Poppy's Conversation Corner. This conversation is happening every week at 6:30. And I'm excited to be with you. We have a phenomenal guest, a phenomenal woman doing some phenomenal work here in Ohio. And I don't know about you, but I want to be connected to her. I want to know her. I want to know her story. I want to know how she did it because she's going to walk us from A to Z. I promise you. On this episode, we're going to learn how she became who she is, the way she is, the way she do things. We're going to learn it. We're opening her brain. We're going to pick it. I hope she's listening right now because I am excited to hear her story, her journey. Phenomenal lady, doing some phenomenal work. But y'all, how y'all doing? Do me a favor. Like, comment, and share. It's just that simple. I don't ask much. Well, I mean, I think sometimes I might. But I don't ask y'all for much. So like, comment, and share. Do me a favor. Talk back to us. Ask questions. But most of all, share it. Because somebody need to hear this conversation about this phenomenal woman. If you got a question, and I didn't even say her name, but I'm glad it's there. Dr. Meadows is going to be here. She went to school to answer your questions. And it's pro bono tonight. I don't know about you. She didn't know that. It's pro bono. So drop your questions in the comment. Y'all, you may be even featured on the show. I'm excited about it. Do us a favor, share it though. Let somebody know this conversation is happening. And if we can go ahead and get this conversation started, we're talking about in a room, a minority therapist shares what clients don't see. So she's going to open up and tell you the thoughts of a therapist, what they're thinking. They have to process things, they go through things. But let's talk to Dr. Meadows. Let's get her on. Let's get her on because I know she's backstage. Like I'm paid by the hour, and the hour is not.
Look, I wish.
It's coming. We're speaking it in our future. We're speaking it in our future. It's happening. It's happening across the board. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for
Good.
having me.
No, I'm so glad. There's always a ram in the bush, and I don't want to call you a ram, but you definitely not the bush. So you came on in perfect timing. Like it was divinely ordered that we got you. I promise you. All the way up in Columbus, Ohio. You're up. We're
up.
going up. Yes, you went up. We searched all over and we found you. I'm excited about it. Sometimes I'm too safe for my own good. But anyhow, like, no. So do me a favor, just tell us a little bit about you.
Alrighty, so I am Dr. Chanté Meadows. I am a licensed clinical social worker by trade, but actually my PhD is in leadership and social justice. Because I'm a social worker by trade, I own Meadows Counseling Group, which is we do counseling and coaching. And actually, we do professional development training for those who need their CEUs. We also do workplace mental health or workplace wellness. It's really bringing the mental health aspects back to the work environment. We make people feel like you're only able to have your mental health at work. Well, I'm like, if you have a cold or at home, if you have a cold, you have a cold in a grocery store, you have a cold at home. You got a cold everywhere. So we have to normalize those conversations. So we bring it even to the workplace to talk about not just in the C-suite, but just really normalizing and talking about mental health awareness. So we actually have a few different arms going on at Meadows Counseling Group. So like I said, we have coaching, counseling, we do professional development. And I'm also a community lecturer adjunct at The Ohio State University in the College of Social Work. I also am teaching. And so I bring all of that to the table of Meadows Counseling and what I do. Been doing it now. I've been in the mental health field for almost 20 years, which is crazy because I'm like, how?
But though. I mean, you've been doing this your whole life.
Thank you. So, but I've owned Meadows now for about 10 years, which is it's been an interesting journey. I will say that. I love it. It's been interesting. I tell people I've only been Dr. Meadows for 2 years, so it's still a title I'm getting used to. People think you all of a sudden wake up and get used to that
You like,
title. I
yeah.
didn't. I'm still like, oh, who are you talking to? You talking to me? Me? Oh, okay. Okay, got it. So I love, I'm very passionate about mental health. And yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell, all things mental health, all things workplace, personal, and learning how to do it as honestly a busy person. I am a wife, will be married 19 years next month. And
Kudos. Yes. You have to, that's the lesson I need you to teach me. How to get there.
19 years next month, and we have 4 boys.
Wow.
And they range 16 to 6.
Ooh.
And the last set are twins. So the twins are my surprise of life. And so all these things make up who I am. And I think that's the part of life. So they were our surprise. Yeah, God was like, we thought we were done.
Yeah,
he was like, but I'm giving you double. He was like, and double.
He gave you double for your trouble. He did.
Yes. So I have 4 boys. Life is what it is. It's a blessing, but it's a lot. And that is how Meadows Counseling kind of developed. All the parts of me and being a professor, being a social worker, being, a wife, a mother. That's why we offer such vast services, is because as a clinician, as a social worker, as a mental health, as a being, it's a lot of things going on. And so, yeah, that's
going back then. Okay. So before the doctor, before the wife. So this would have definitely been before the mother. The younger you, like you're figuring out, you're in your college years. Because I'm gonna at least go. No, I don't even want to go back to college. Let's go back before then. Your younger self. When did you figure out that this was the path that you were taking? Like, or was this something like from childhood? You were like, I want to help people.
No, I tell people I wish I did have this wonderfully exciting story, but I do believe the God has always had his hand on me and my path. And it was I thought I was going to college. When I went to college, I thought I was going to be an attorney. And I started off on that road, and nope, that didn't. I was like, oh, that's a lot of reading and it's a lot of work. And it's so funny because I still was like, And honestly, my major in undergrad was interpersonal communication, learning how to talk, how to give speeches, how to do that. But it's always funny when I tell or think of my story, like I still didn't. Literally right before I was about to graduate from college, at the last minute, I applied to be a teacher through Teach for America. Like the day before the application was due.
Oh, wow.
And right before the application was due, I submitted it and I was accepted. And now Teach for America, for those who don't know, it's not an easy program to get into. Thousands apply all over the United States, everywhere. I applied the day before it was due.
And got in.
And I got to teaching in rural North Carolina. And it's still it's interesting. Rural North Carolina is where I started. And I taught for 2 years. I actually taught middle school Spanish. I'm a California born and raised. So
okay. So that's natural. Yeah, it was natural.
So I teaching middle school Spanish, and from teaching middle school Spanish, but in a Black community, in a rural community where education wasn't at the forefront and different things, I found myself even as a teacher more involved in their lives and more trying to hear their stories. And I think this is where God was planting the seed. Still didn't know I was going to be a therapist though, but I was more interested in their lives and what was going on, after school clubs, going to kids' games, becoming all the things, but their life stories and their hardships actually is how it started. And I still was like, okay, I need to go back. I did my 2 years. Teach for America is a 2-year program, did it. And I was like, what next? And at the time I had met my husband. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure our journey was over. So I got a job as a mental health case manager. And any people talk bad about case management. Ooh, I can't do that. Da, da, da. But it was where the seed was planted again, and it started to water and grow because as a mental health case manager, one, I learned about resources and that most people do not tap into resources because they don't know.
Yeah.
They just don't even know that, oh, I could get someone to help pay for my rent if I'm really hard. Or that when my kid is having behavioral problems, there's somebody who could be at the school with it. Like people are not aware that there are resources. And that's what I love about case management was that. But it was also mental health case management. So don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It was the I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
It was like the hard, severe, which I now know is severe and pervasive mental health, where we say that person who's talking to themselves, that person who hears voices, the hard parts of mental health. This was case management. This was case management. This wasn't being therapy. I didn't get to sit. But I fell in love with mental health. That was where it started. And I also started to learn for a lot of the kids that I was working with, I didn't know they had mental health issues. I didn't know they had a case manager. I didn't know that they were in foster care. It opened my eyes to some of the struggles that I saw in the classroom that I was like, why weren't these bridges made that this is going on in this kid's life? And me as the teacher or the school as a teacher, didn't know this kid is catching all heck at home. This kid is going and it was the eye-opening of systems too, of how systems just keep. And so from there, I just decided after that, I did case management for years, but also anyone who's ever done case management, you're in the car all day, you drive, and I was
all over.
I was like, okay, so it's time to go back to school so I can do something a little bit different. And I loved it. And that's how I ended up in social work. And I think, and even from there, I still didn't get the hint where I was supposed to be. I knew it was mental health, but I actually thought I was going to go into school-based social work, which only makes sense. I had just come out of it. And actually, through just different things, I ended up doing your master's, you have to do your field placement or your internship to begin. And I actually got it at the counseling center at Ohio State, which is where I fell in love with working with young age, like middle age. And at a counseling center, it's a training center. So you also work with psychologists, psychiatry, MFTs, LPC. So it's a training center. And so I was getting trained as a therapist, even though my work was a social worker. And it was beautiful. I love, that's where I was like, and I was a therapist, and that's what it is. You're in a training center and you are training to be a therapist and you're getting poured into as a clinician. But I also got to bring my social work background, and I really got to see how the systems all connect. And working with college students made me fall in love with college students. From the freshman who is homesick to the person who, because it's Ohio State and working with students of color and this PWI, and I've been in Georgia and Atlanta, I've been around nothing but Black people. And then I get to these universities and it's so much that comes in college counseling centers. And that is where I was like, ooh, I love it.
I love this for me. That's passion. That's passion.
It was so, and just opening the eyes of all the parts of how you can help someone just honestly by listening and being present. And then I think as a social worker, I'm also able to understand the systems part of like, ooh, right. And then now even in a university understanding, I'm a first generation college student. And at that point, I was also a master's student. And so understanding these student struggles of cultural struggles being at a PWI, understanding, and what most people don't realize is 18 to 21, if you haven't already had a mental health episode, it's likely to happen in college. In that 18 to 21 age. And so you are dealing with people who have never had a mental health episode that's all of a sudden can't get out of bed or can't shut their thoughts off or, struggling. And culturally, that's one adjustment is the mental health. And then I'm also in college, mom or dad may or not be present or I don't have support systems. And it was such a beautiful experience. It was also a learning experience to so much. of it. And so that's where I actually, after I finished up my internship, I ended up working at the College Counseling Center for many years. Um, but I also, and during that time, I got trained. I'm actually a sex therapist,
Oh,
um, which
okay.
I tell people, like, people be like, and I'm like, it ain't as fancy as it sounds.
Nah, yeah, I have friends. Yeah, yeah.
It's not fancy. It's
It
not
sounds
fancy.
nice though. It sounds like sex therapy.
I was like,
Oh,
oh, a sex therapist. No, no,
no.
it's still therapy. But no, so then that's how I got trained as a sex therapist. I started working with couples. Because even when you have your higher up students who going back to graduate school, PhD students, law students, and they're trying to navigate relationships and all that. So I just really, it opened my eyes to, even when we say what a college student looks like, the non-traditional student, the person who's decided to go back later in life.
Yeah.
And so you really get the gamut. It's not just that 4-year college student, and definitely at that time. And so all these things were like pouring into me and really finding like, I love mental health. And parts honestly I love most is the awareness. I love normalizing the conversation. Going back to how I said, even becoming a case manager, there's so much people don't know about mental health. And just naturally also, I'm a teacher. And so that's even some of my therapeutic style is I'm helping them understanding. Like I will break out what the DSM of, like, let's talk about this. Steve, do you feel like this works? Is this for you? Let me help you understand how we get to diagnosis. But it's so empowering, education and information. And that is where that is my jam. Thus, Meadows Counseling, again, has so many parts of, we do professional development, we develop interns, we take on interns, because I'm also ingrained in that teacher role, that when I decided to do Teach for America the last moment, he gave me the first cup was to teach. And then I teach about mental health and I love it. And I love providing people, going back to even case management. I love giving them the resources. And so that's why I do churches, Women's Day, speaking again, and even hashtag Jesus in therapy, but meaning like really helping normalize and bring the mental health conversation to, but it all became like this. He kept putting it together. I wasn't seeing it. And that's what I say, it's not a cute, sexy story like, oh, I had this. No, it wasn't like that. It was literally God kept placing certain things in my life and he gave me the passion for it. And I have learned the power in it, and just even because it's such a taboo topic.
Yeah,
It's such a taboo.
definitely.
I had the pleasure of doing a TEDx, and the opening line is, what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Hmm. Oh
And
wow.
that is the opening line. And that is culturally what we're taught. And that's what I want to break down
Yeah.
about mental health. It can't be that.
Oh,
Whether your house is your body or whether it's your mind, whether it's talking about it, it cannot stay. And that's even for me, is we've got to talk about mental health. And
yes.
so that's kind of my journey, a long way, how I got to it. It's like I said, it's not this really cute, sexy story or anything like that. It just,
It's definitely, you may not say cute, sexy story, but it's definitely inspiring.
mhm.
Because the thing that I said in awe of, and I don't know about you if you're watching, I need you to comment the word passion. That's the word that I saw. That's the word that came to mind as you talked. You saw it in your facial expression. You saw it in like just your whole like the energy that you were putting off was passion, like behind this thing. Like if nothing else I saw was passion. And I think that's like what definitely keeps you going. That definitely
Yeah,
the passion behind the work. Because there's a lot of other things that come along with the job because again like you said you're hearing everybody's backstories, you're hearing everybody, you're going into people's lives, like you're digging
mhm.
deep into people's lives, and that's not to say that you don't have your own life going on. Four
That part.
boys, a husband, a
Yes,
house to take care of, like
yes,
bills that's still coming in, like real life. That doctor title that came
yes.
with some fight. I'm sure some financial
A whole
things.
bunch.
Like yes, exactly. So like it's a whole lot of things going on in your life, but you're so much to so many people, I'm sure, because you just became so much to me. Because I need to send my offering, my Ivy pay. I don't know how you accept your self pays. I need to send my payment because you just became my therapist just that fast. Phenomenal, but it's like you take on everybody else's stuff in your in your life. Like, how do you manage this though? Like because you're not in the chair anymore, right? Or are you still in the chair?
A little bit.
Okay,
I
so
do. I still say I have a small, because you know what? Here's the thing: as a as a Black therapist, when you get certain clients, they was like, I don't care how. I have literally had clients, I don't care
oh, they
how big
don't.
you.
Yeah,
They've been
yeah,
with me before I was doctor, and they've been with, and they was like, I don't care how big you become.
yeah,
I'm not going to nobody else. You my
yes,
service. I will follow you. I don't care what my insurance say.
yeah. No, that's real. That's real. That's real.
So
That's real.
I say I have some that just won't go nowhere. I'll be like, aren't you doing well? And I'm still not going nowhere. Okay.
Yeah. They're not going to because
They're not going
they,
anywhere.
you play a piece in their life, and that's what's pushing
Yeah.
them forward. So, but with that, so like, how do you manage though the emotional weight of doing the work, especially when clients experiences kind of mirror your own? Maybe like you saw like yourself, like I don't want to say like, oh, this is how you grew up, or this happened to you, and like, how do you manage that type situation?
I mean, I don't think it happened. It didn't happen overnight. The first thing I think is I've done my own work. I had to
Mm,
do therapy myself.
mm,
Um, like that is hands down the, and I still like, I don't want people like I'm never not in therapy. Oh no,
yeah.
no. I keep my own therapist. Let's be clear. I am, like, oh no, no.
Yes.
That is necessary. I think that is the first, and that is the setting, is I had to do my own work. So if it did show up across from me, or when it does, I also tell clinicians all the time, if you're going through something in your own life, it's about to sit right in front of you. And that is the hardest thing. The number of things, and definitely as being a married person, being a mom, I have literally had the exact same issue sit in front of me. And I personally, I talk to God and should be like, oh, so this is what we gonna do? Because
This
you
what
know
we
I don't
doing?
know.
Yeah.
But as a therapist, it's also not about me knowing the answer. That's not my job as a therapist. It's just to sit and be present with them and help them through their journey. And so I say, like, as far as taking care of myself, a lot of it is my own work. I've done my therapy. So if something is triggering me, I have my own place to put it, because when I am sitting across from someone, this is about them. It is not about me at all. So, in learning how to make it not about you means you have to be able to be physically present. You've got to be mindfully aware for yourself. Also being aware of what your own triggers are. There's certain clients that I'm like, I probably can't work with them.
Yeah.
It just too much, our lives mirror too much, and being okay being like, that's probably not my client. Like that is not who I'm supposed to sit with. When I first, even right when I was becoming a mother, working with pregnancy loss, because I am a sex therapist, that was very difficult. To some points, I was just like, nah, I don't think I can sit with pregnancy loss while you're carrying and hear these horrific loss. I was like, oh no, I can't do this right now, because then you start worrying, and it's just like, nope, let me not do that.
Yeah.
But I had to learn what I could, and I also I think even in my life, I have to have places. I love a good vacation. Give me a vacation. I'm gonna take me a vacation.
Yes.
I'm gonna take me a vacation.
Yes.
That's what I am gonna do. I love water. I'm a beach. I'm a July baby. I am a California child. Water and sun rejuvenate my whole soul. I will go to somebody's beach somewhere immediately and sit down and refill my cup. I am a strong advocate for self-care, so I try to operate in my own self-care. I am involved in my church. That spiritual feeling also, and how I don't carry so much is, for me, it's I have to tap in always into the spirituality for me to not carry that, because that is, like I tell people, I don't have a heaven or hell to put nobody in. This is not about a judgment. This is literally about me just sitting with you as your clinician. And so for me, that spiritual space of giving, I give it to the Lord. I pray for my clients. So I'm not carrying that. That is not for me to carry. It's just not like, I don't need to carry that. And I think early on in my career, I learned I'm not carrying this. I have strong professional boundaries. You can reach me. They know what to do in an emergency, and it's half the time not me in the case of an emergency. And even the heavy stuff, and I would be lying if I say, right, you don't have those one or two cases that like really tug at your heartstrings.
Yeah.
And that's what you do your own therapy for, because they really tug at your heartstrings. I'm also EMDR trained, so I also know my own grounding techniques for myself if I'm feeling dysregulated, and have no problems tapping myself or just doing something to regulate me. Deep breathing. I will use whatever technique, honestly, that I am willing to give a client. I'm willing to I do for myself. And that's, like I said, that's therapy. I love dance, hip hop, fitness, like things like hip hop, fitness. That is my favorite form of self care, is to dance it out.
Okay. Okay.
And I tell people, yes, I love Jesus, but we gonna also twerk on this floor and get all that. We gonna get it all out. We gonna get it. You know, you got to get it and just release it. And I love dance and I love music, and we just, you gonna, yes, we gonna get it. Like, yep. So I'm gonna do my self care. I'm gonna exercise, and my exercise is usually dance. And I would love to say I eat right now. I don't do all that, but I'm working on that, you know. But I do make
it's a journey.
It's a journey, you know. We do. I drink my water, but you know, But it's all the things that honestly I tell people to do. I literally try. I try. That's what I tell people. And in the idea is not that I'm going to get it right every time. If they're not, I'm not aiming for perfection. I am generally just trying to do the best I can. Also to take care of me. I actually just did a training. Spoke at a conference. You got to put your oxygen mask on first before you put it on anyone else. I'm no good to anyone if I pass out, because I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a professor, I am all those things. If I pass out and I'm no good, it's not.
It just doesn't work.
I really, really try to, as the best I can. I don't always do great about it, but I at least make sure that is at the forefront of my thought process.
I definitely love it. I love it. But okay. So now we established semi out of the chair. You have your ways to like handle these situations. I heard the keyword boundaries. That's definitely one, because clients in a sense can become invasive and and not to their own, like that's just like the nature of the game, you know. Like you are theirs at some point. Like some clients feel like they own you, like they should be able to call you whenever and you should answer, and email if I emailed you why you didn't respond, even though your automatic response says 24 to 48 hours. Like, you know, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, you have those type of clients. You have those type of clients. But then you so that's the client piece. But now you're building a business. You're building a practice like that's having all these different pieces, these moving pieces in it. So what challenges, like, because that's one piece, you know, the client facing piece. Then you have a lot of like the back end pieces of it, because when you start growing, when you start adding these different people on and this different, and you got to have a billing department, and you got to do this, and you got all this stuff, and in a sense, at one point you probably was trying to do everything yourself. Definitely, like I don't know, like how you were when you were building. So what like type of challenges did you face? Like, because you're at this point now, you know,
I love that it says face as if the challenges go anywhere. Let me tell you, all it they are still present day challenges that just, and they only get worse or bigger. Right, more money, more problems.
Yes,
that's kind of true. Like that's not untrue, and definitely
that's not a false statement.
No, and that's kind of like, so I say we could talk challenges all day. And I think challenges fall into a few different buckets. I think I've talked about clients, but I have it from I see we even at the practice, not by design, but currently everyone who works for me is a person of color. And so there's totally about 12 of us or so. So, and having clients. So I think Black mental health really in particular and people of color, it took off in that like COVID, George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it like, and that's also where telehealth took off.
Mm-hmm.
So what people don't understand is most clinicians were not trained for what we're dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize that. And Black mental health is its own challenge because I am a trained clinician. Thank God I'm a social worker, but I am a trained clinician. And therapy is not coaching. It is not advice giving. It is not for me to fix it. And I think one of the things that people don't know is what therapy is.
I think that's like you hit that nail on that hammer on the nail. That like people need to know that.
They don't know that culturally. So I think some of the difference is when how often our clients show up the expectation of what they think therapy is. And it's not. And then we have that cultural attitude of why it didn't work and what didn't happen. But baby, that's not what therapy is. I'm sorry, that's what TV told you or social media, but that's not therapy. And I think that is a challenge in itself because you want us to go to therapy, but because it doesn't hit our expectations of it. We spend the first sessions, and I tell people who work for me, you go spend a few sessions just educating on what is therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, I think in that time, people want immediate relief, and true healing, it didn't hurt overnight. It came with time. So the healing takes time, but we're in this day and age of, I want this. And this is why we honestly have to start offering coaching and counseling, because some people, you want someone to give you the more directives.
Mm-hmm.
You go coaching route.
Mm-hmm.
Those who you have anxiety, you have depression, and it's showing up in your life and you're not functioning, let's go to therapy route.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it took me a while. We just added coaching in the last 6 months because it's getting worse of people feeling, and I do think social media is playing that role of what people think therapy is versus coaching. But I needed to be able to offer both because some people, I'm like, what you're wanting is the expectation. But I think it's harder for Black people because culturally we did not grow up talking about therapy. We did not talk about what it was. And we just hit the ground running of everybody flooding to therapy, but not really understanding what therapy is and what it is not. And so that has been its own cultural challenge in itself.
That's crazy that you say that. Like I definitely because like the light bulb just came on. Like literally that's what it is. Like understand it, like, and it goes with what you're doing. Like the education has to come behind it too. And I do think like because around that time that you said, I feel like every therapy practice took off around that COVID, the unrest with the George Floyd, all of that stuff took off. But I don't think we were educating the people on why you need to come to us, like, or how this is gonna work, because it just happened. Like people your phone start going off, ringing off the hook, and it's like we got to help the people, but I don't think the people knew what the help was gonna look like, or so that light bulb came on. I'm sorry, I do apologize for stopping you, but
that is, I mean, people don't realize that is a huge thing because I tell people like mental health is in. Even my husband be like, everybody be like, I'm in therapy. He was like, everybody's talking about it. Yeah. And I was like, I appreciate that, but we not doing it right. We don't understand what it is. And so we're coming to therapy with these unrealistic expectations that are setting the therapists up and setting them up because also that immediacy you want. Therapy don't work like that. And I'm like, and yeah, like, and it's so much around what are feelings, identifying feelings, talking about it. Did you know this is what that is? I mean, it's just like our learning curve culturally for showing up to therapy is just far greater than our white counterparts. It just is. And that's nothing, but it's because we are newer to it. But that's a challenge when you get into this room. So you're like, okay, I see where the problem is and I see where we need to go. There's so much I got to do to get you there, because I also don't want to lose you as a client because you need this. But good Lord, can we?
Yes.
Good Lord.
I think what I'm going to speak into your future is the handbook, the guide to all practices. You need to put this together, sell it to all practices across the board on how to properly, because that is the thing. Like maybe if we went in, but it may be scary though if we educated too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
That may push away, because I think a lot of people, and I hope, like, if you're watching this, it's not to offend. We're definitely to educate. If nothing else, we definitely want you to be well educated on why you're seeking it, because it's not instant. It's not instant. You're not going to go in on the first session and it's like, oh, I'm healed, I'm freed, and I'm delivered. It doesn't happen like that. I'm sorry. Like,
it doesn't.
it doesn't.
It doesn't. And I think that is where we spend a lot of our initial parts. And here, and the next part with that, that's not client based, but kind of sort of is insurance. And I say that because people don't think this stuff is stressful, but as a therapist, whoo, these are the stressful parts. And so one, the average person, I don't care, black, white, blue, brown, does not understand their health insurance.
No.
So you don't know if you got a co-insurance, co-pay, deductible, out of pocket. You don't know that. That is and so when you call and schedule your appointment and I tell you, hey, you have a deductible, which is basically meaning you kind of got to pay out of pocket. But then they get mad.
No, that's true. They do.
You mad at me, but you picked your insurance plan.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm only telling you what you have. I'm only telling you this is what you have.
I'm only telling you what your insurance. And I think that is a huge problem because people don't understand when they start a new job and you pick your benefits package. People don't understand what benefits you're actually picking. And having worked with college students and who are 18, who've never had to make a doctor's appointment ever in their life, and their parents no longer can because they are a legal adult, and then you're trying to navigate insurance, or that 24-year-old who just got their first job, are no longer on there. They picked the one that took the least amount of money out their paycheck, but you actually are on medication and need therapy. Baby, that ain't the plan for you.
Not the plan for you.
That ain't the plan for you. But we don't know these things culturally. And so
I just got stressed. I'm sorry, because it's true. It's so true.
They call for therapy. And this is what, and my front desk, I feel so bad because we've had people literally be like, well, you know, I'm stressed out. Why would you charge me?
Yeah, it's a challenge.
And I'm
That's
like,
challenge.
I understand, and I'm not saying that. And it's hard because this is the old school mentality. This is system of that therapy was only for people who could afford it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we got to that original notion, is why it was a white people's thing, was because it was only for people who could afford it. And then we're not even going to talk about it. You got Medicaid, who may or may not look like you, that accepts your Medicaid. These are things that are stressful. Yeah. And people think, I get told all the time, oh, y'all must be rich, baby. Let me help you out. If if you are in this field and not accepting private pay, we're not rich.
Yeah.
People don't and what other people don't understand, that's a challenge in all healthcare, but in particular mental health. I see you today. I do not get that money from your insurance for easily anywhere from 3 weeks to a year, because Medicaid can have up to a year to pay a claim.
And the way that they're doing it now, it may be that year. That's a
So
disclaimer, so y'all know that. So we told
it
you.
is 3 weeks to a year. So I've seen you today, but I
Right.
don't get the money from where I seen you until somebody else gets to decide when they're going to
You
pay
get
me
paid.
for the
Mhm.
service. And I talk to my clinicians about this, but this is a stressful because I'm like, even though this is the money and business side, it affects the clinical relationship because if you start to accrue a balance or an issue comes up, we have to change the frequency of your sessions, or if you have a deductible. And so people don't understand that it's also a combination of business and clinical. And just how you go to your doctor, your mental health is the same way. So I don't have the luxury to just be like, oh, I'm gonna keep seeing you. Because right, if anybody really pays attention to the United States, medical debt is one of the biggest debts in the world, in the United States is based on medical. So I have to stop your services at some point because you're getting too high of a balance
Yeah.
because your insurance is not paying. And so it's this interesting weave that we don't understand. I also be going back to, we don't understand health insurance. We don't understand benefits. We don't understand what. And so it does affect, though. Can you be seen weekly? Can you be seen once? And we'll get people who come in and be like, oh, I'm be seen twice a week. Sorry, your insurance isn't going to cover that. If you have a private insurance, your insurance is not going to pay for you to be seen twice a week. I can sometimes write in a medical crisis, but beyond that, that's a short period that they're going to let me, but your insurance isn't going to pay. And I hate how much insurance drives the business in the field, but insurance drives the business in the field. And that's what the hard part is for me, is I often feel torn between, I see what my people need, I see what they want, but I also have to make sure people have food on their table, and I have food on my table. I've got 4 kids, one who's 2 years going to college, he'll be in college. Like, I'm sorry, it has to be this. And that, I said, we could talk challenges all day because
it's a lot.
This is, it shows up even in the clinical process of even I have to tell, like, we'll have a client who's like, their insurance hasn't paid 3 sessions. Why not? Pause on their next session until we figure out what's going on. Because it's ethically wrong for me to keep going.
Yep.
Because we'll get the, well, why can't we go until, because if they turn around and deny, that's your expense that I know you don't have the money for.
And I think that's another thing that, like, culturally, like, we don't, it's like, okay, like some people are literally like, okay, like, and then when it comes back and the bill falls back on you, and then we have to chase down for monies for services that was already rendered. That becomes a
rendered.
challenge.
That's the part I need people, that if no one understands anything from listening, y'all, we see you today, but we don't know when we're gonna get your money. So you understand we are operating on blind faith to take insurance. Because the reality is a denial could come and they turn around and say they're not going to pay us at all.
Yep. It's happened. It's happened and it's happening.
It's happening more and more and more and more. And so it is the hardest part of my job. It is the number one hardest part is, yes, I see what you need clinically, but I also know what insurance is doing. And I would hands down say, trying to navigate this right now more than ever. I work at a university part-time and whole DEI departments got wiped out. What does that mean? They lost their insurance is what that means.
No insurance. And 9 times out of 10 can't pay the out-of-pocket rate because they lost the job. So income is a thing. So it becomes wholehearted. So now you're discharging and you have to go through a whole process on the back end. And that's hard because you build rapport with these people and now you have to let them go because
of culture, they think they take it personal.
It's personal. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I know, I get it. You built this great therapeutic relationship. You told me all your hard stuff. I am not negating that in any capacity. But we also have to get paid.
Yes. Yes.
Like, we have to get paid. It is, and that's, I think, one of the hardest things is I think sometimes, I agree, therapy should be free. Guess what? It's not.
Because if it was free, at some point, somebody's still paying. Like, it may be free to you.
It may
Yeah,
be
it's
free for
not.
you, but
Yeah,
somebody,
but
and that's
somebody
what,
has to get paid.
and we get the number of people who we get fussed out by are always like, well, you know, I'm stressed because,
Hmm.
and then it's about the money, and
Yes.
they're like, but they're angry at us and don't want to do services, and but it's like, that is literally not within my control, y'all. Like,
No, not at all.
I don't get to control that.
No, it's definitely not a you thing, and they don't understand that. Like, but the good thing is, I feel like, and I'm gonna reach down. Sorry, This-
You're good.
that light went out
I
so
saw your
bad.
light go out.
Yeah, it was just like I don't like that dark tone. It's like I'm just waiting on. I love it, but they like the good thing. I feel like is the education piece behind what you're doing, and like platforms like this to hopefully educate the masses, y'all. It's more to this thing. It, the piece of it is you coming in to get the service. It's so
Mhm.
much more that goes on to this moving train than just you coming in to get the service. That's
And people don't
definitely,
recognize that. And
yeah.
I feel bad because it is jading people to the therapeutic process, and it's jading people to have a good therapy experience. Um, I mean, I tell people in this day and age, in 2025, all that we're dealing with political, here's the hard part. Mental health is a healthcare business.
Hmm.
So if you are doing anything, if you're a person that's struggling with your mental health, you need to be watching politics right now. In the state of Ohio, 800,000 people about to lose it. Senate Bill 1 went into effect yesterday. That's all the DEI, which women are included in DEI. You don't have to just talk race, okay? Like, I need people to understand these are also healthcare. Parity is at risk. People don't know what parity is.
Hmm.
Mental health parity is that your insurance, so you know when you get you get your insurance.
Hmm.
So Biden had put in place mental health parity that was supposed to go in effect January 2025. It may get reversed. What does mental health parity mean? Your health insurance does not have to cover mental health treatment.
Mm. So it's there, like it's a choice. So they like the insurance get to choose if they're gonna like cover it or not. So basically,
So
they don't have
most
to.
people most people, when you do your health insurance, you also have to do eye and vision as kind of almost
Hmm.
separate.
Hmm. Now you have
Mental
to do
health
mental
has
health.
not always been in every state. Ohio is a parity state. Ohio may or not be. We also may get a new governor in the next couple. There's so many things that people don't realize that is actually happening. And one of them is that mental health parity would say that we no longer have to cover it. So you could have your health insurance and then be paying out of pocket for your mental health. It could be listed as a specialty, which means it costs so much
Yeah.
more. It could be in network, it could be out of network. But if parity actually gets reversed, which we kind of think it will based on all things that's
What's
happening
going on?
political,
Hmm.
your mental health insurance, you have insurance, but you don't have mental health coverage.
Mm. So which becomes another challenge added to our list that we haven't even put it in. So there's challenges,
I said
people.
we could talk challenge.
Yeah,
Look, I
there's
could do a
challenges.
whole show on
Yeah,
challenges.
and
But
like
people want their hard parts. And it does affect therapy because right, if your insurance all of a sudden dropped your therapist or no, dropped mental health coverage. What does that mean if you're on medication? What does that mean if you need intensive outpatient? What does that mean if you get hospitalized? Um, like what does this mean if that goes away?
yeah. That's scary. It's scary because it's going to hit so many people, so many
Mhm.
people, and that's a scary thought. I definitely want to back up because my mind just went in this like scary place. So I definitely might need to while I have insurance, I may need to go ahead and see if you're in my network because I need to dig myself out. I need to
It's
dig myself out.
the negative place is there.
Yeah.
I just tell everybody who is in the mental health field right now, just make sure they're paying attention.
Mhm.
If you're in the mental health field, paying attention to the policies and the politics, because at the end of the day, it is a healthcare business.
Yes. Yes, definitely, definitely. That's education 101. I love it. I love it. I normally ask before we get off. You dropped so many gems, so many words of wisdom already. I normally ask before we get off if you can just like give us something to like hold on to until next week. You know, some word of wisdom, some mantra that you live by. Drop some form of gem.
So something, give us something, give us a little
Give
something.
us something good.
Um, Mental health will always be needed. And all of the AI and things that are out there will never ever replace a relationship. So, with all your boundaries and all the things, remember people need you. You're doing good work. Mental health will always be, someone will always find a way.
Mm.
There are nonprofits. There are, even if you get a corporate sponsorship, the biggest thing is don't stop. Don't give up. Keep pressing. I, as a believer, believe God will always make a way out of no way, and He will provide. And even with those, I tell people, you'll see why Meadows offers a lot. It's because they're pivots based on what's happening, but at the core of what we do is still mental health.
Yes.
And so stay in it. Don't get out of it. Just, you may have to pivot, you may have to reinvent, but don't stop, because at the end of the day, you're doing good work.
Yes.
You're doing healing work. You're doing people work. And no AI will actually ever replace that. No system will make people not. And there's always a way. I'm like, if people can do a GoFundMe for an animal, you gonna GoFundMe someone's copay, someone's something, meaning like, and this is also where community is needed.
Yes.
I was like, it's like back in, some people may be bartering services, a nonprofit and a profit link up together. You can get this service and I can do this. We can do this. We just need each other to do this. And we have to remember that. I think the world can be very divisive. This is not the time to divide. This is the time to unite. So that's why I'm like, your nonprofits and your for-profits meet up. How can this person get funding for this? And how can this person provide that service? It's still, the work is needed. The work is there. And we are creative people. We are innovative people. And don't let anyone take that from us. And we can keep doing this. We can keep doing the good work. We can keep serving. We can keep help. You are needed. Don't make people feel like, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I also, one of my favorite sayings, we can do hard things. We can. Hard does not mean impossible. So we got this.
I love it. I love it. I'm telling you, big stages, platforms, maybe even like a pastor, I see you over congregations of people, if you will. This lady is phenomenal. And I don't know about you, but she taught, she educated us so much, like informed us, personality. We need to be on TV together. And when you go, just pull me along. Come down to Cincinnati. Yeah, just pull me up. Pull me up. I'm so grateful and thankful, though, that you took this time out. Y'all visit her website. Learn more about what she's got going on. She's told us all the things that she's got going on. She's in Ohio, so she's technically licensed for Ohio. So
over Ohio,
she can get.
And our coaching goes everywhere. Our coaching, you do not have to be in the state. I'm saying
you don't have to be. No.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
yep. Follow us.
Follow. Yes. She's phenomenal. Like, learn more about her. Y'all see those links? Go to them. Visit. Let her know that y'all found her here, though, because I want the credit for when I go to get my we're bartering. We're bartering.
Look here. All platforms, come on. We barter. Look, I tell people, a marketing person and a therapist. Let's come on, figure out switching up.
Let's work this together, because they work together. They go together.
It's all the things. It's all the things. We are. The world is a different place. We do what we
It
got to do.
is. We're in a different
That's
place, 2025. But I'm so grateful again. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. People pay so much money for that type of information. So we thank you for sharing your story, how you got to where you got, facing some of the challenges, overcoming them, because we're not going to let those challenges hold us down. We're overcoming them. She's working through
yes,
them, like pushing
yes,
through them, because we're making a change in our community. I told my friends a couple of weeks ago, we're going to get off, but we're change agents, and I'm
we
excited
are.
about it. We
We
are.
are.
We are. We're making changes in our communities, and I'm grateful for it. Y'all visit our website. We're Poppy's Therapeutic Corner. Again, this is Poppy's Conversation Corner. We're here every week, 6:30. I love y'all. Y'all be blessed until next week. Stay strong. Or next week's episode. See, thank you, Mikey. I love you so much. Next week's episode, we have Jaden McQueen on, phenomenal therapist who's here at Poppy's Therapeutic Corner. We're going to talk about how to take care of yourself with Jaden McQueen. I love it. See y'all next week. Next week, next week, next week. Hold on tight. See y'all.